Meet Johnny Yanez, crane foreman for Colorado River Constructors, the contractor building the 183 South project in East Austin. John is responsible for all of the bridge beam setting on the job.
I've got 9 cranes out here that I'm in charge of. 3 of these big ones that you see here. I'm in charge of all of them as far as where they go, the maintenance on them, keeping them safe, and keeping them up to date.
John got his start in the industry at the influence of his father, who worked in water and wastewater treatment plant construction.
Worked with my dad from a very young age till about the age of 24, and it was about time for me to break away from working underneath my dad, where everybody, it was hard for me to grow in the company when I was always just below my dad. So I decided to break off and do something by myself, and I went straight in the roadway.
John received a great deal of on-the-job training, giving him the confidence he needed to overcome his fear of operating construction equipment like big cranes.
As far as when I was a crane operator, getting into roads work and setting beams for the first time, that was a big obstacle. I was scared running the crane for the first time to set these beams. The more I did it, the more I got used to it, and then after doing it for so long, then you get used to it and realize, what was I even scared of in the first place?
John tells us the process to set beams in the area around the Colorado River for the bridges there has been very elaborate. It's required demolishing some existing bridge structures to make room for the new ones, and then John has to navigate the massive crane between the various bridge columns, which requires taking it apart and moving it through the job site.
The crane was on the other end of the job, so I had to tear it all down. No boom, just a cab and no counterweights or anything, and find a path through all these columns to walk it through here. That was a pretty tricky process right there, but we squeezed it through, set it up right here, and rebuilt the entire machine.
John appreciates the diversity of activities involved in the roadway construction industry. Not only does it keep his skill set fresh, it keeps the job interesting.
Oh, it's something different every day. Whether I'm tearing a crane apart and moving it to the other side of the river, or I got bridge beams. Just the other day we walked one of these cranes over the river through the water, and that was pretty fun.
Roadway construction comes with its challenges, and it requires creative problem-solving abilities.
Planning all these beams, how I'm going to get them in there with the cranes, which way and where the beams are coming in, figuring out how these beams are going to be set and what crane I need, how many cranes I need.
One important message that John has for anyone considering a construction career is that it's not just a job. It can be a lifelong career and one worth taking a chance on.
Go for it. There's a lot of work, and there's always going to be a lot of work in the roadway. Bridges are always being built. Roads are always being built, so it's a good career.
And John has some advice he wishes had been given to him earlier on in his career.
At a younger age, I didn't think I was going to be in construction the rest of my life. I still kind of thought, oh, I was doing this for just while I'm young as a labor hand or whatnot. I guess at a younger age, I wish somebody would have told me, hey, keep your head in the game, watch, listen, look, learn, and I could have probably been where I'm at now maybe 5 years ago.
Now that John is a foreman, the skills he looks for in his employees are similar to those that got him to where he is today.
I look for them to keep their head in the game out here too, not just to be a lever puller in the crane, but also help me figure out and pre-plan and know what we got to do next.
John says there are significant opportunities for advancement for those who want to work their way up just like he did.
I've got a guy here that probably about 5 years ago, I was an operator, he was a labor hand, and he wanted to learn how to run the crane, and on our off time or after work, our boss said it was okay for me to let him jump in there and move the levers around and stuff, and I taught him actually how to run the crane. Well, he got that little bit of experience, and then he took it upon himself to go get certified. He passed, and then here we are 2 years later. I just hired him as one of my big crawler crane operators.
And John says you can make a decent living as a construction worker. There are plenty of hours available for work 7 days a week.
Yeah, we're nonstop. We got some crews working nights, some crews working days. The hours are definitely there.
Motivation to advance is key to success in the construction industry, and that is what sets John apart as a leader.
One of the labor hands that I taught how to run the crane, he was eager to jump into the crane. I've always been eager to find that next step.
As someone who has worked their way up, John has some advice for those considering a career in construction.
If you have no clue where you're going or what you're doing and you're physically able to be out here, I would definitely say give it a shot. Everybody out here is willing to teach. You just got to be willing to learn.